2024 is right around the corner, and that means a new crop of games to check out as we set our sights on the new year. My name is Kodiak, this is Legacy Gaming, and here's every game we think is worth keeping an eye on in January 2024. If there's one thing fans of the Portal games have asked for, it's more Portal. Portal Revolution is a new community mod that expands Portal 2 to include over 8 hours of new gameplay featuring 40 new challenges and even some new mechanics. Set in between Portal and Portal 2, Portal Revolution tells a brand new story using new characters. You play as a test subject who is awoken by a personality sphere called Sterling and join his mission to find a powerful device capable of restoring Aperture to its former glory. The mod will also feature the resurrected pneumatic diversity vent element, a new laser cube variant, and over 15 puzzles using only the blue portal gun. If you want more Portal in your life, then definitely keep an eye on the Revolution mod launching in early January. CRPGs have enjoyed a lot of success over the past year, and I have a sneaking suspicion we're going to see a lot more of these types of games come out in the next couple of years. Sovereign Syndicate is one such CRPG, building upon the formula that games like Disco Elysium established. You play as one of 3 characters and explore a Victorian-era steampunk world from their perspective. Much of the game's action is about exploring, observing, and interacting with the world, but how you choose to navigate each obstacle is up to you. Players can lean into combat, persuasion, magic, and even explosives to solve complicated puzzles, but it's really your character's skill and attributes that shape the gameplay experience. Sovereign Syndicate explores a couple core systems that dictate the gameplay. Tarot cards inject an element of chance as you interact with various NPCs and replace the classic dice roll mechanic of a CRPG. There's also the skill and etiquette system that rewards the player for using skills, while stagnating those they ignore. It's a give and take that'll shape the character you'll become as you explore the world. Sovereign Syndicate is a single-player CRPG that features 20 different locations spread across a steampunk city, 3 playable characters, and intertwined stories, and it's launching smack dab in the middle of January. Next on our list is Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. I had the chance to go hands-on with the game back in December, and I think it's got a ton of potential. I get that a lot of folks are upset it doesn't follow the traditional third-person formula, but as someone that loves a good Metroidvania game, I was really impressed with what I got to experience. In The Lost Crown, you play as Sargon, one of the Persian immortals, on a quest to rescue the prince from Mount Kaf, a strange and cursed place where enemies and anomalies have thrown everything into turmoil. The action is crisp, and there's no shortage of interesting enemies to fight, each with their own distinct moveset. When things get tough, Sargon can tap into his special abilities to unleash massive damage or create healing fields. If you're a fan of Metroidvania games that give you the freedom to explore, throw a ton of awesome boss battles at you, and introduce some mystical elements, then definitely keep an eye on the Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown. We don't always include early access games in our monthly gaming videos, but in the case of Contain, it felt wrong to leave it off. This is a first-person, co-op tactical shooter, and while we don't know much about the game, the few trailers the team has released look fantastic. If you're into careful coordination with a few buddies and want to explore a dark, almost horror-like world as you try and contain and extract supernatural entities, then this game is for you. The game touts an in-depth gear customization system, allowing you to fully control the look of your character down to the pouch location, as well as a gunsmith system that gives you access to hundreds of combinations of guns and attachments. While it's dropping into early access, Contain is certainly a game to watch. A solid gameplay loop with consistent early access development could make this a surprise breakout hit of 2024. Solar flares have knocked out our technology, and you're tasked with leading the remaining people into the future. New Cycle is an upcoming strategy city builder where you're up against a clock and the elements. Clearly inspired by games like Frostpunk, New Cycle takes an apocalyptic premise and builds an entire game around it. As a leader, you'll need to expand your settlement from a lone shelter to the industrial center of this new world, but that only happens if you're willing to make the hard choices. Instant action events add another layer to the experience beyond the city building and force you to grapple with tough choices that will always have an impact on your community. New Cycle does seem a bit more forgiving than 11-bit's Frostpunk, with more of an emphasis on the city building and production management aspects of the game. If you're willing to risk it all, dealing with natural catastrophes, an aggressive season system, and the fragile will of a broken people, then New Cycle might be the dystopian game that puts a smile on your face. We live in an era of remakes and remasters, there's no doubt about that. And in the case of The Last of Us Part 2, the game is getting remastered just a few years after its initial release. Coming exclusively to the PS5, the game takes The Last of Us Part 2 campaign and brings it into the current generation of graphics, while also introducing a few new features, including new outfits to customize your look, guitar free play mode that gives you a musical outlet across multiple instruments, new lost levels which give players the ability to check out previously cut content from the original game, and a new roguelike game mode called No Return, where players will choose between various stealth and combat encounters as they fight against a range of enemies dealing with unique factors unlike anything else they've experienced in the base game. The Last of Us continues to be a huge win for Sony, and with the Part 2 remaster being released mid-January, I have no doubt this will be another successful release for the franchise. If there's one game on this list our entire team is excited about, it's Enshrouded. This survival crafting action RPG is one of the first big games to drop in 2024, and it's already seen a ton of interest across the gaming community. Enshrouded combines traditional survival mechanics with an action RPG experience that only a few games have managed to pull off. In the Highlands, you'll be able to gather and craft in relative peace, but within the fog of the Shroud lies real treasure. You can play the game alone or with up to 16 friends as you battle bosses, explore the secrets of the Shroud, and ultimately expand your base and push deeper into the game. Enshrouded looks to feature a relatively straightforward combat system, but the RPG elements do expand on this quite a bit. The Shroud is also a unique concept that will test your ability to explore under pressure. Players will only have a limited amount of time to explore the Shroud before they die, which adds a different dimension to the action. Enshrouded was featured at the 2023 Steam Next Fest, and players walked away from the game feeling rather positive, which is a good sign for things to come when the game launches in mid-January. While we're not big into fighting games here at Legacy Gaming, it's hard to ignore the resurgence of the genre over the past year or so. Building on that momentum and the tried and true success of a beloved series, Tekken 8 lands on the scene with a new shiny coat of paint. It's clear the developers aren't looking to reinvent the series here, and that's perfectly okay. The mechanics and systems the series is known for will remain largely the same, but players can expect a few new features as well, such as the Arena Quest single-player mode, a new battle heat system, and a fresh new story to boot. The game will feature a roster of 32 characters, including some fan favorites, as well as some fresh blood. Tekken 8 looks to take full advantage of Unreal 5, aiming for a fidelity fans of the series just haven't seen before. Add on to that the developers' laser focus on more aggressive gameplay, and we've got ourselves one heck of a fighting game. One game I still can't put my finger on is Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth, a wild RPG that combines elements of action and casual simulation games all wrapped up in a colorful and quirky package. Yakuza and Like a Dragon games are known for their mini-games and offbeat moments, but when you consider Infinite Wealth has an entire Animal Crossing type experience built into the base game, well, that's something you don't see very often. Add in the crazy taxi meets DoorDash delivery minigame, and you've got a recipe for something interesting at the very least. While the game isn't looking to revolutionize anything in particular, it does present a fresh twist on the turn-based combat, which allows the player to manipulate some positioning between the action. This supposedly sets you up for some big combat numbers, but without being able to go hands-on, it's hard to say for sure. If you're a fan of Yakuza or Like a Dragon, you'll also be happy to know that Kiryu from the former and Ichabod from the latter will both be making an appearance in this game, and set in the vibrant tropical land of Hawaii. Regardless of the story, which is still pretty murky, the game is bound to be a good time. I wanted to wrap up this video with a look at the Quinfall, a ridiculously ambitious new MMORPG that's only had a couple of years of development. It seems impossible that an MMO could be released after just a few short years in the oven, but that's exactly what's on the table here. The Quinfall is a fantasy MMORPG that features a robust character creator system with hundreds of points of customization, 10 classes, and multiple subclasses within each class, in a world the team claims to be the biggest MMO map ever created and explored. One look at the Quinfall's website, and it's hard to believe all of this will be available at launch, including story, daily, and weekly questing, large-scale PvE encounters including world bosses, and PvP castle wars. It's an absolutely absurd list of promises, but the team behind the game, VarRec Technologies, has said they're embracing AI in their development process, so who knows? I for one am skeptical, but I do think the game is worth keeping an eye on in case it pops off and surprises us with a well-developed or at least promising experience. So there you have it, every game coming out in January 2024 that we think is worth keeping an eye on. As always, if you enjoy our monthly gaming videos, we need your help. Hit that thumbs up and consider subscribing. And if there's a game on your radar that we didn't talk about today, let us know in the comments section below. Of course, you can always join us on Discord if you want to talk about great games, enter for your chance to win free prizes, and connect with the team. That link, as always, is below. My name is Kodiak, and from everyone here at Legacy Gaming, thanks for watching, and play on.